Storm game. Hello everyone, today we'll be watching High on the Vanguard versus msrm on the Infernal. Two of our top players here in Stormgate, and as you can see, 5 workers already being pulled across the map. This is as early as you can get it. High even rallied out the first 3 workers that you can make and pulled 2 from his Luminite, so we can get these workers across the map as fast as possible. msrm getting an Iron Vault, knowing the meta, knowing that this could happen, and knowing High, most importantly, does know he needs a fast Iron Vault. The barracks is going down right next to the Iron Vault. There are 2 friends right here, and we'll see how msrm is able to hold or not hold this push. There's already a sentry post on the low ground. All but 2 workers have been pulled for msrm. He's going for the workers, not the sentry post. He manages to get one. Bit of micro here, saves one of the workers, and is going to save another one, so not really going to get any more than that, but killing one worker does slow this push down, does help out, so that's very nice for msrm. Another Iron Vault going down there, a Lancer being made from the barracks, of course, rallied straight into the sentry post. Second sentry post is being attempted here, workers once again pulled, all but 3 this time. Target firing the Imp, gets 1 Imp, but does get 1 worker as well. The Brute has managed to worm his way in and is helping out. Again, going for the workers, not the sentry post, because if you can get this down to 1 or 2 workers, it's much easier to stop further sentry posts from being added onto this onslaught, this cheesy push. But don't go judging High. This is a very standard build now because of the way Infernal and Vanguard pair up against each other. When you don't do this, Vanguard just doesn't have a particularly great time, whereas this gives Vanguard a chance. So this is what we will see until something changes in the balance. A Tribute Pyre going down. msrm does need supply so that he can continue making Imps and Brutes. Behind this, you know, there isn't a full saturation or anything for High. Obviously, msrm has to keep pulling Imps, but he's not losing them particularly hard, and you know, he traded another worker there for an Imp. Nothing too punishing or crazy for either player, but you can see now only 2 workers. One is in the Repair-O-Matic, or is a Repair-O-Matic. The other one is very slowly building a sentry post. Without the overcharge, without 5 guys doing it, it is very slow to actually add on to this. But we'll see what msrm decides to try to do here. More Lancers being added into the mix, able to kind of push in, have a little poke at the Imps. The damage isn't too threatening, but if there's no answer, then you suddenly start losing all of your Imps. And of course the Lancers don't trade well with Brutes, so they can't really engage head on, but it's just a constant back and forth poking. Quite an interesting dynamic. You can see this Lancer stays a little bit longer than you would have liked. Takes a lot of damage on him, but we do kill a Fiend, which is the unit that spawns off of a Brute when it dies. You get 2 of them. And you know, it always hurts. Fiends can, for example, take the Stormgate, which is spawned down here. We'll see if anybody decides to make a play for that Stormgate, or if the action is simply going to be all in msrm's base. 1 Brute has been sent, so this is a perk of having your Iron Vault not in the main, as he can send units very quickly to the Stormgate. We did have a small scuffle. 1 Brute did enter the main. There was a sentry post, and the Brute gets out on low health, so that's it there. An Imp tries to get down to the low ground here. High notices, loses a Lancer that's trying to chase this Imp, but another Lancer is pulled from the main here. And he wants this Imp because he doesn't want msrm to get another base, but we get a meat farm, a Tribute Pyre, and then a cancel immediately on that Tribute Pyre just to save the Imp, and we do get the Shrine down. So that was critical for msrm's future in this game, because he's not going to be able to hold this for much longer. The Buzzsaw Cannon is hitting the Shrine, which means that the shots, the glaives almost, are bouncing to his worker lines. His Imps do not want to be mining there anymore. Meanwhile, High has more or less 1 base economy. msrm currently has no economy whatsoever, but he did get the Stormgate, and out of that Stormgate he gets a Faerun. The Faerun represents infinite healing, and will probably be used to clear up all of High's turrets here. So High has a choice here. He can try and evacuate the workers, the lancers. He could try selling some of these sentry posts, or he could just go all in, try to kill the buildings here, kill the 2 tribute pyres. Already got the Iron Bolt and the Shrine, of course. Here come the brutes with a Faerun. Sorry, the camera messed up there. And the Faerun, just watch the healing here. You know, there's not going to be any real losses for msrm because the Faerun is such a good early game healer. It's good all game long, but it's also particularly good in the early game. See that brute? Oh, if he target fired, that brute would have lived. But still, the trades here all very one-sided. So although msrm only... Actually, he needs to put his imp back onto mining, and he just did that. But, you know, although msrm's not mining, he's mining his opponent in the form of killing all of his buildings that he'd built in msrm's main, and now the workers without the overcharge are miserably slow, so they will also be hunted down and killed before they make it back across the map into High's base. High, as I say, has got his 1 base economy. He's getting up to 3 racks, and the biolab for exos, he's getting quick draw hustle, so the X's will be able to kind of go out on the map and not feel like they'll immediately die. So that's the big perk of that. msrm, after clearing out his main of all the shenanigans there, says, I'm going to go have a little aggression of my own now. And suddenly I'm in your main, and it's on Broken Crown, so it didn't take me all that long either. Drops the effigy. Doesn't actually get much value from the effigy. He does get some armor debuff from the Fiend when it's on Shroud. And some passive healing, though I know msrm doesn't truly believe in the passive healing. So just comes in, has a poke, denies some Therium mining, sees what's up. Most importantly, getting a full scout there. Obviously he sees, okay, it's 3 racks, I can see the biolab, and I can see you're making exos. I don't see a natural here, so not too bad for msrm. The game has kind of leveled off. msrm actually 5 supply up at the moment. Though High does have some resources banked. Getting the second Stormgate here, or is he? There are X's walking across the map, and there is the new Vanguard bread and butter, which is to servo overcharge and just send a bunch of guys across the map. Maybe build a turret, maybe just use them for tanking and damage, since with the overcharge we're getting a 50% extra damage on the workers and also armor. So making a piecemeal kind of hodgepodge army here out of exos and servo overcharged servos. Yeah, able to shoot msrm off here actually. Doesn't want to contest this with the units that he has. Doesn't currently have anything other than 1 Iron Bolt, so if he loses his units he's not really going to be able to replace them all too easily. Does get the 2nd Iron Bolt up to try and mitigate this. And yeah, this Stormgate will go the way of High, and we'll see what he gets out of there. It is the tier 2 Stormgate, so it has some interesting things there. Let's see what we get. We get the Dark Throne, which is able to create a command post for High, and High actually opting in for the sneaky version. He's going to build it over here. Oh, F2's it back just a second. Now you do need to put this on a separate control group, guys, or it'll just keep getting F2'd. Command post being constructed in 2 seconds. 3 workers come with it, and it also has this, yeah, look at this, increased charge rate by 300%, so the workers will replenish and he'll be able to purchase more workers on there very quickly. Of course, msrm has no idea about this. He doesn't know that it was the Dark Throne. It could have been anything coming out of that tier 2 Stormgate, so he has no real incentive to go scout the map for a secret command post. He's happy, he knows he's got his own natural, and as far as he knows, High is on 1 base. But, you know, he might assume there'd be a base here already, for example. And you can see the worker count has already gone up to 10. So it starts with 3. You get 3 charges on it as well. So effectively it starts with 6 if you can afford the worker charges. And now an extra 4 workers have been added onto that from the increased charge rate, which will run out soon, but it pretty much runs out as you get full saturation on Lumina. Even getting some gas here. This is all rich gas, the shiny green stuff, as opposed to the regular stuff, like you can see the non-green patches there represent faster Therium mining. So pretty happy High here, able to get up a 2nd base off of that 2nd Stormgate. msrm opting in for 3 Hellborn and some brutes. Only now getting a Conclave, so he doesn't have Infest, and High actually just running in from this health camp, comes in and snipes a couple of imps down. Very unfortunate positioning here, the way the game works out. This isn't usually where you keep your army and then just walk in for a cheeky poke at your opponent's workers. That's just how this unconventional game has turned out. But yeah, msrm is on a defensive footing here. He's just trying to mitigate any damage. Doesn't feel like he can run out on the map when there are exos with quick draw hustle that can snipe down his Hellborn. But he does have the Faerun. He does have 4 Hellborn now, so it's very hard for all of the Hellborn to get target fired down. Again, pulling workers to the middle of the map, building 2 flat cannons, and you can see the progress here is in favor of High. He's got 3 of these power stones, and msrm is losing ground. You can see there's actually a bar here that represents the progress of Stormgate. msrm trying to slow it down, but there's a lot of time left on the Stormgate, and the damage is very much in favor of High, who's got 2 flat cannons covering this whole situation too. So the next Stormgate, the second and third one, going the way of High, and we'll see what he gets, because this Dark Throne has already paid off. Very gambly, let's say, because msrm could come and clear this out with a few fiends, or at the very least force High to sit there with his army and defend this base whole game. The Swarm Mother is the choice that we have made, and this produces these free units. One thing to note is that all of these will become phantoms if they are infested by the Gaunts and then killed. So kind of free units for High, but also kind of free units for msrm, who also, it's an interesting interaction here, because the Swarm Mother produces free tanking, but then that Faerun produces free healing, and a lot of it, right? So the damage is being mitigated by both players from their Stormgate choices. Magmadon comes in, tramples, but immediately turns it around. You notice he didn't just run the Magmadon straight in. He wants to keep this thing alive. The Faerun doing a great job of making sure the units tops up on health. And this Swarm Mother will just constantly be producing these free units and trying to gain value like that with the exos behind it. So not a bad choice at all, the Swarm Mother. Or High walking a little bit too far on a move command, so ends up losing a couple of workers there. Panic runs back, throws out the Swarmlings. Hellborn are just machine gunning everything. Oh no, the Swarm Mother gets caught out and killed. That's a shame, because as I say, that's free value for the rest of the game. Could even start, you know, just throwing it at random bases as its own separate harassment force. Maybe with a couple of exos there, but not the biggest of deals as the supplies start to rise. One Hellborn does get sniped down there. 2 flat cannons still covering here from the Stormgate stage of the game. Able to push msrm back, actually. I thought maybe he'd push forward there, but no. Sentinels coming out, 2 more being produced. System shock as well, so medtechs will have increased energy rate and be able to zoom the army around in case of Magmadons or anything too frightening. This base, there is 1 sentry post guarding it, but as I say, this is very cheeky, because if msrm knows about this, if he finds this, it's a disadvantage for High, at the very least, potentially a catastrophe. But as it is, 3 bases to 3 bases, plus 1 secret base with the double gas on it, full saturation already.
Will activate soon.
So all things being equal, msrm would think he's in a good spot here, or at least a decent one, you know, nothing too one-sided, but this 4th base that's fully saturated for High is definitely an issue. The supplies are not too far away from each other, and a lot of the supply from High, the extra one, is in the workers at his secret base. Oh no, the Faerun getting targeted down a little bit, does manage to get out of there. 1 Hellborn getting sentineled, so you can see the value of the sentinel locking down 1 unit, and if the opponent retreats, that 1 unit is then sacrificed. Next Stormgate is coming out, and High actually able to take this one as well by the looks of it. Yeah, msrm gives it up, says you have what you have from that Stormgate. I'm just going to make sure I don't immediately die. And it's going to be... He's thinking, he's reading and he's thinking. Power Stone, so he'll be able to imbue Avatar onto a unit of his choice. 1 on 2 units or 2 on 1 unit. And it's actually more effective to put it on the same unit, because So you get extra 50% or so extra health and attack speed, and then you can then put another one on and it will give 50% on to the new number, so it will stack like that very efficiently. But you could put it on, say, 2 different medics and give them extra regen and have lots more health. We'll see how he... Oh, there it is. He's getting a helicarrier, which I think is the biggest bait for Vanguard, which is to get the Giga helicarrier. It'll have a ton of health, a great attack speed, but ultimately it will get absolutely crushed by shadow flyers, which scale super, super well. The dragon is out for msrm. This is his favorite unit. He's extremely good with it, extremely good at keeping it alive and getting maximum value for it. His army consists of mostly Hellborn. Hellborn are very expensive, so most of the army value is in the Hellborn. He's got a couple of gaunts there for Infest. He's got the Feyren, which he's very nicely managed to keep alive all game. High trying to expand. I love this that he doesn't bother to cut the trees to get this base, because trees are such a pain in the ass to deal with. So he just walks them around and builds it there. Not a huge deal. These 2 flat cannons going down. Basically for free it will be. Oh, he does actually focus fire. High, very quick there. Focus firing a Hellborn, almost killing it. It's on 10 health there. There it is, the Giga helicarrier with almost 2,000 health. Shadow flyers are already out and about because of the sentinels. Oh, helicarrier taking big damage, and the breath from the dragon kills it, because the breath from the dragon is still using the old inhale poison mechanic, where it does a percentage damage from the infest and not just the 2 damage per second damage from the infest. So actually killing the helicarrier from 500 health to 0. But it looks like these Exos with the tier 3 upgrade, the Sentinel catching the dragon, making sure it stands still for a long time. It doesn't matter that the Giga helicarrier was killed. Ultimately, mass Exos not having an answer for msrm, not having miasma or anything like that. I mean, it's basically miasma at this stage. What other splash damage can we rely on here for
Dimensional rift
Infernal?
detected. A storm gate will activate soon.
But there it is. It looks like msrm has been got. I don't think this game will last much longer. It is the classic msrm GG timing. He's just making sure maybe his opponent makes a terrible mistake or disconnects. But ultimately, the supply does not lie, and High takes this. I do wonder, though, if msrm had found the secret base that the Dark Throne created, whether or not that would be the end of the game. Lots of GGs and GLs have been traded here, and a very nice game from both players, very unconventional and weird. Some cool plays. Mostly around the storm gates, the action is being focused and forcing both players at least to come out and have a look and see what's going on. See if they can take the storm gate. If they can't, you need to make the decisive move to just let it go to your opponent. Don't throw away your army and have a game past it despite the Stormgate rewards. Because you can see, like, the Swarm Mother died instantly. The Feyren did survive for a really long time, but eventually just died. The only real substantive reward was the Dark Throne, which made this entire base, made this entire secret base play happen, and gained High. I would consider this the victory, because otherwise it would have been a lot closer, and these dragons and these Hellborn would get the value up that they wanted. But this way, High actually just got to the tier 3 Exo plus Sentinel is the main bread and butter now of Vanguard in the late game. The Vulcans also do feature, but they do get hard countered by Hellborn, even just maneuvering because they're quite slow, just making sure you get the good angles as Infernals. So the Exos are kind of a really cool, safe late game answer for Vanguard, with obviously some medtechs behind them, but there's almost no Lancers. There's no Graven, there's no other units. It's Sentinel, Exo, and if you want to throw away some resources, you can do some Helicarriers, like Hyatt decided to do. Again, that double avatar that he got from a tier 3 Stormgate puts it on the Helicarrier. The Helicarrier runs in, dies to a handful of Shadow Flyers, and inhale poison. As I say, the only major value from this game in terms of Stormgate rewards was the Dark Throne, and I would say the Feyren as well. Without the Feyren, I don't think msrm clears up the main and all of the sentry posts and stuff there. But it has like a early game spike in value, and then it's like 4 or 5 medtechs worth of healing, I would say, because it doesn't run out of energy. It's just constantly doing it. So yeah, GG's to both players. Very fun game. That's all for me. Like and subscribe, etc. And I'll see you next time.